Hello and welcome to the big picture. The recent judgments of the Supreme Court on two important issues last week has created quite a stir in the political circles as well as the legal circles. The first one is regarding whether a convicted MP, MLA or MLC can remain in office after the conviction, and the court has said that they can't remain in office. But the second judgment is more interesting and important, equally important, because here the Supreme Court has said that anybody who is convicted, who doesn't have the right to vote, cannot be contesting the election. If a person is going to be in jail, in police custody, or even in judicial custody, he will not be able to contest the election. This is something which has caused quite a stir in the political circles, and so a lot of discussion is on this. So we will discuss this whole issue today, asking the question whether this judgment of the Supreme Court will wash. To discuss this, I have with me Justice R.S. Sodhi, a former judge of the Delhi High Court, Mr. K.N. Bhatt, a senior advocate of the Supreme Court and a former Additional Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tapan Sen, CPIM MP in the Rajya Sabha, Gurdeep Singh Sapal, CEO of the Rajya Sabha TV, and Vinod Sharma, political editor of the Hindustan Times. Welcome to all of you. First, let me go to Justice Sodhi. Justice Sodhi, this judgment of the Supreme Court saying that, anybody who is in jail, whether an under trial or convicted, even if he's an under trial, will not be allowed to contest the election. Do you think that this is something which will wash?
I don't think the Supreme Court actually said all that. I think an appeal, especially was filed against a judgment of the High Court, in which the court at Patna High Court and the Supreme Court merely said we find no reason to interfere, I think. And what has been interpreted thereof is that it has actually upheld the entire judgment of the Patna High Court, which I don't think is really the case. Yes, Patna High Court did say that once you are in detention, you cannot contest.
Justice Sodhi, the principle apparently, and the judgment the order talks about section 4 and 5 of RPA and read with section 62(5) of the RPA. It says that only an elector can contest polls and he or she ceases the right to cast vote due to confinement in prison or in police custody. And the interpretation is that whoever is in police custody, whether under trial or convicted, cannot contest the election. You think that interpretation is not the right interpretation?
I think it's slightly too wide, and maybe it is not the correct one. But then the Supreme Court can always revisit its decisions, and I'm sure wherever there is too much of a grey area, it can always cover it up.
Okay. Let me get Tapan Sen on this. Tapan Sen, your party has reacted quite strongly to this judgment. It has said that, it actually, your statement says that it infringes on the democratic right of the citizens. Whereas Justice Sodhi says that, this is not exactly what the Supreme Court has said.
Whatever we could understand by going on the report that was published in the media about the Supreme Court observation.
Right.
So far as the person that are detention will not be allowed to contest the election, we consider that it is absolutely incorrect. And under trial prisoners is not convicted unless his charge is proved. And in our judicial system, there are different tiers of judiciary, and a man can be finally called a convict or a accused of the proved charge could be proved through that process only. So in any case, by any stretch of imagination, howsoever one may be anxious of cleaning the politics from the criminality, So, but anxiety cannot always take one to the right position, and an under trial person whose charge is yet to be proved as per the system that is prevailing in our country, it will be utterly undemocratic. It infringes the right of the people if he is not allowed, an under trial prisoner is allowed to court. And particularly in our political system,
Yes.
which is full of imperfections,
Absolutely.
where the political activists are foisted with in n number of cases,
By every
which
political,
finally, could
by
not be
every
charged.
political party in power, I'm sure Tapan Sen, it's not just confined to any particular. Anyway, I understand your concerns.
I can tell from the point of view of my party.
Absolutely.
And my party is the direct sufferers of that kind of political foisting of false cases against the political activists of our party. And let me tell you why our party only that day, from February, for going on strike, some 200 workers were arrested in Noida. They are still under jail. And they have been charged with Article 307, attempt to murder. Nobody murdered, nobody injured, but 307 was posted on them.
Okay.
In such an imperfect governance system, this kind of judgment will become a dangerous thing.
Okay, Tapan.
The adequacies has to be kept.
Tapan, please stay on. I'll come back to you. I understand your concerns, but this is a concern which is expressed by all political parties, I'm sure. Let me go to Mr. KN, but let us get a clear picture of what this judgment is. Because there have been interpretations and misinterpretations probably, because Justice Sodhi says this. Do you agree with him? What does this order really say?
The second order only means that while you are in custody,
Yes.
for whatever reason, you cannot vote. Nothing more than that. Any other objection is only a shadow boxing. We are because then you cannot vote in the sense that there are number of you can't just say that today is a voting day. I may be released from the prison for that purpose, or I may be given a postal ballot.
So this is nothing. You're trying to say that there's nothing to do with contesting elections.
Nothing to do at all. Section 62.
But why does the court in its
Not
order?
court. It is the media who did not understand, made it manipulated and projected it in a wrong way.
Let me talk of the judgment. It says section 4 and 5 of RPA. It mentions section 4 and 5 of RPA, where it says only an elector can contest. Why does it? And section 62(5) of RPA, which says no person shall vote at any election if he is confined in prison with under sentence, which is what you're talking. 62(5) is what you're talking about.
Look, 62(5) deals only with the physical voting.
Voting.
Nothing more than that.
Absolutely.
He doesn't cease to be an elector or voter.
Right.
It says that notwithstanding your name being found in the electoral rolls, you shall not be allowed to vote.
Right.
If you are in lawful custody of the police, either as a
Under trial
or
accused or
whatever. The
yes.
character doesn't matter. It does not come into picture for either for consideration of the validity of your nomination or anything of this sort.
Then why is this judgment being read with section 4 and 5?
Who read it?
That's what the reports
Who
say,
read
that it has been.
If somebody interprets it wrongly without fully reading it, we cannot help it. As and when it comes, it is only section 62(5) scope, namely, it is the section says exactly what the judgment has said. So the other judgment, what I tell you is what? There are two judgments back to back came.
Right, same day.
Not at the same day, one day after the other, I think. One of the judgments was challenging the validity of the section 8(4) of the Representation of People's Act.
Right.
That particular section, it says that even though you are suffered the disqualification, but if you are already a sitting member of the parliament or assembly or something, you will be given 3 months' time
to appeal.
To appeal, and during the pendency of the appeal, he shall not be disqualified.
Right.
This is the one judgment.
And this has been struck down.
That
section 8(4) has been struck down.
8(4) has been struck down.
Right.
That is a different judgment, and this is a different judgment.
Absolutely.
As Justice Sodhi told, Patna High Court has said that section 62(5) says so, What the statute gives can be taken away by the statute, and therefore,
No, Mr. But I want another clarification. In this case, in the second case which you're talking about Patna High Court thing, the Election Commission went in appeal against the High Court judgment to the Supreme Court. Why did the Election Commission go in appeal?
because I don't know what they did, what inspired them. Their lawyer must have advised them to go to appeal, and they must have gone. I can't understand what is the problem with that. It is like exactly like a section 62(5) says.
Yes.
See, that is dealing with things like proxy voting, etc., etc. It is actually the mechanism of physical casting of votes is dealt with.
Who
that
can do it?
section.
Who can vote? Who can't vote?
Who can't vote, etc. Despite their
So this
name
is
being
actually
there is
what you are trying to say is this whole thing is a much ado about nothing.
shadow boxing.
Okay. Mr. Sapal, my question to you is that, you think that now that this has been clarified by Mr. Butt and Mr. Justice Sodhi also, so you think that the media has just made something out of this, something out of nothing, or you think that because the political parties have reacted very strongly, all political parties, you think that even the political parties have misread the judgment?
Yeah, the perception has been that the judgment says anybody who is under legal custody
Yes,
will not be able to contest.
right.
No.
This
Will
is
not
the
be able to
perception.
vote.
Will not,
Please.
No, no,
The perception.
The
We're
perception.
talking about the perception,
is
how it is,
that he will
made.
not be able to vote.
There have been any number of articles on this.
The Election Commission's handbook for candidates.
Right.
And if you read the RP Act, it is very clear the person should be elector.
Right.
Elector means the name should be in the electoral rolls.
Right. And he
If a
should be
person
eligible
is
to
under
vote.
custody, his name is not struck down.
It's not
so
struck
I
down.
would agree with the legal reading. But the issue is the perception is, and the political parties are reacting to the perception.
Right.
And the courts, which on every second day take up matters suo moto of various concerns, should have taken it up today or maybe in the coming days to
Because
clarify the
this judgment-
situation.
This judgment is 4 days old now.
Yeah, it is up to the courts then to clarify, because this deals
Because
with the
the
basic.
first time we are hearing what
Yes.
Mr. Butt and Justice Sodhi is saying, this is the first time on any media that this is a judgment which
There's-
has been completely misinterpreted by the media.
Nobody has said it so far.
Nobody has said it so far.
While all the political parties are reacting to this.
Exactly.
So whose responsibility is it to clarify the situation? That's my point.
It needs no clarification. It is simple English.
Referring to the Representation of People's Act, I am reading one of the reports. Referring to the Representation of People's Act, a bench of Justice A.K. Patnaik and S.J. Mukhopadhyay said that the Act, in brackets, section 4 and 5, lays down the qualifications for membership of the House of the People and Legislative Assembly, and one of the qualifications laid down is that he must be an elector. The bench said 62(5) of the Act says that no person shall vote at any election if he is confined in a prison, whether under a sentence of imprisonment, transportation, blah, blah. Reading sections 4, 5 and 62(5) together, the apex court came to the conclusion that a person in jail or police custody cannot contest election.
Wrong.
Justice Sodhi?
No. No, I don't think that is really right, because the section itself talks of a person entitled to vote.
Yes.
Now, if the section has not neither been altered, nor amended, nor struck down, nor read into, then I don't think this kind of criticism of this court's judgment is really fair.
No, Justice
Although
Sodhi,
there is a perception may be wrong.
Justice Sodhi, my only question is, which I asked Mr. Butt also, is that why is if it is only about section 62(5), then why is it being read along with section 4 and 5 of the Representation of People's Act?
There's no correction between two.
See, it's a complete act, isn't it? It's a complete code in itself. So each section will have to be, has to support each other, or it can't be read against each other.
No.
I don't
Justice
see
Sodhi, section 4 and 5 talks about membership of the House, qualifications for membership of the House of the People and Legislative Assembly. And section 62(5) talks about the eligibility of a person to vote. Why are these two, and apparently the judgment itself talks about these two acts, reading these two acts together, these two sections together.
Yeah. The court has created the confusion, if there be any.
Yes, see,
Tapan?
Actually, I think
like I
the
said,
Sorry,
Hello.
Yes, Tapan.
Actually, the very suggestions of the court, reading both the sections together itself, has created, one may say, confusion, one may say misunderstanding, whatever it may be. And it is up to the court, they must clarify that position.
Okay.
Being interpreted by my friends in the program,
Right.
I think that has to come, that clarification has to come from the court. Otherwise, confusion remains.
Vinod, you think this is a simple case of journalistic misinterpretation?
Look, the journalists who cover the Supreme Court are accredited to the Supreme Court.
Right.
And one of the preconditions is that they should be law graduates.
Right.
Or substantial experience of court
No,
coverage.
law graduates, law
The
graduation
basic
is
and,
basic
and
necessary.
substantial coverage of courts,
Yes.
lower courts and high court. Now, all this reportage has been done by that set of people
Right.
who qualify to cover the apex court. My question here is different. That a member of parliament is in jail. Can he vote in a confidence vote or not as per this judgment? And if he cannot, or if he can, then this judgment it breeds in equality. It is not a judgment which puts both at par. You know, the
I
same
don't think-
as in the previous
No,
judgment.
I would like Mr. Bhatt to
Can a
respond to that.
person, can a member of parliament who is in jail for valid reasons
But RP
come
Act
and
doesn't-
vote? Can come and vote in a confidence
Vinod-
vote in parliament or not?
Mr. Bhatt, does RP Act cover what happens within the house?
No.
It doesn't.
RP
So
Act
this will
doesn't,
not- this will
because
not be
then
applicable.
I will answer Vinod immediately.
Yes.
This question has been settled long ago by the judgment of the Supreme Court, when a large number of members of the parliament were in jail and several constitutional amendments were passed
This during the emergency?
during the emergency, but makes no difference. They did not refer it only to the emergency. The question was asked in the Supreme Court whether this type of 42nd Amendment, for 38th Amendment and election law reforms, etc., court said that it doesn't matter. Parliament is not concerned. Present and voting. Why they are not present?
Is not their concern.
It is not their concern for the validity of the act. This has been settled long ago by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Now, you see, we are on this question, Nikam, of reportage.
Yes.
The objectivity of the reportage out of the Supreme Court. This has been debated for long.
Yes.
And I think a number of hours have been spent many a times by television channels discussing something which the court has never said, or drawing inferences which were not valid from the court's observations. I think it's about time that the Supreme Court put in place a mechanism, maybe not the judges themselves, but some qualified lawyers who have the authority of the Supreme Court judges or the Supreme Court as an institution, that they should immediately qualify or interpret or clarify a judgment each time there's an instance of this kind of a confusion
Or
being
hold,
created.
or hold a press conference.
Or you act against the correspondents who are engaging in this kind of misreporting.
Let me get Justice Sodhi in on this. Justice Sodhi, do you think that is the suggestion of Vinod Sharma is something which should be taken note of?
See, certainly, Vinod Sharma is a very, very experienced journalist, and there's no reason why I should differ with him. But see, he's right over there. You see, when you report something which is not there, or you impute a motive which is not there, or you impute a particular line or a word or a passage which is not there, you send out a very, very wrong signal to the people. And no wonder, look at the entire political parties are up in arms for something that is neither here nor there. I don't know why we are debating so much on this.
Justice Sodhi, may I add one more thing? You know what is happening now, that petitioners who are a party to the case that is there before the honorable judges, after every proceeding, every hearing, they come out and brief the press.
Exactly.
As per their convenience.
I,
You know, I mean, it's really,
Exactly.
I mean,
He's right
disempowering
over there.
people with regard to the mind of the Supreme Court on key issues concerning the people.
So, Mr. Bhatt,
that is true, Mr. Sharma. You can't have this kind of reporting. You can't have this kind of coverage. You can't permit petitioners to give their versions in a manner as if they are delivering the court judgment or something. You can't do this.
Okay. Tapan, do you
Yeah.
think this is a serious problem? And all you political parties have reacted, and none of you have gone through the judgment itself or the order itself and try to find out what it exactly says?
No, judgment itself you have just read out. The reading the two sections together itself creates, we are not lawful legal experts, but to the extent we understand that language, reading the two sections together inevitably brings that kind of an anxiety or an apprehension, which the expert or rather the court itself only can clarify and should clarify. Why should they allow this confusion to reign on? So they should clarify. This is number one. And I think, Girish, there is a bigger issue is involved in it, and all these things has brought together that which cannot be done by this piecemeal judgment of the court from time to time, a comprehensive initiative for a comprehensive electoral reform.
Absolutely.
Yes, there are many inadequacies. Those inadequacies has to be addressed.
Nobody will deny the need for electoral reforms.
Yeah.
Mr. Sapal, you
I think these
that
have brought forth much more urgency of that.
Absolutely. Mr. Sapal, do you think that the political parties from now on at least should be able to be more careful while reacting to these kind of things in the future?
No, well, I don't think so that political parties have reacted without reading the judgment.
You don't think so?
There are legal experts within the political parties
Right. That's
who are
what I mean.
themselves lawyers of repute.
Because I've read a remark, a reaction from Manish Tiwari, who himself is a senior
the
who is a
leader
Supreme
of the
Court lawyer.
opposition, Rajya Sabha, is the leading legal expert. There are several people, legal luminaries.
Right.
And so what we can say really is that there is a scope of clarification, and that clarification can come from the court itself. There is no other body who can clarify in this case.
See, the whole confusion is on account of the two judgments coming one after the other.
One after the other.
And there has been a sort of feeling, so far, Section 8(4)
Yes.
protected a large number of sitting MLAs and MPs,
Right.
even though convictions are there against them.
Right.
On the ground that the
They have appealed.
appeals are pending,
Yes.
on the ground that the appeals are pending. That section, even though it was considered way back in 2005 by a constitution bench, and the constitution bench justified the existence of that section,
Right.
why it should be there. A two-judge bench has now taken charge of the whole matter and done it. And if you ask me the question, I would say that, look, this matter ought to have been decided only by a constitution bench, five judges.
That's what the former Chief Justice now
Five
is saying
judges,
also.
whatever the reason he might have said, mine is independently, I am saying that the Constitution, Article 145(3) says that whenever a substantial question of interpretation of the Constitution comes, minimum number of judges to sit shall be five. And one more. In this case, the entire setting aside of Section 8(4) has been done on the basis of Article 102 and 191.
Yes.
This is the interpretation of those
And
articles.
it also, the judgment also says that the Parliament did not have the authority to pass this law.
It is, with great respect, totally wrong, I must say.
Justice Sodhi? Justice Sodhi?
I agree with Mr. Bhatt. I don't think the court should have gone to that extent, especially when there's a constitutional bench which has upheld this particular section. But however, Supreme Court is supreme. I'm sure that they know what they're doing.
You think a constitutional bench now should revisit this entire issue?
I think so.
There is no provision for an appeal
I
to a
think
constitution bench.
Yes.
But as has been done in the case of the auction is the only way to sell, a presidential
In the case of 2G.
presidential reference was made and the Supreme Court answered it, and this one. So probably the president may be asked to refer a question to the Supreme Court that there are so many judgments, this confusion, please clarify.
Mr. Sapal, do you think that's a possibility?
And the government
I
has
think
to act on this.
I
The government
think
has to act on this.
I think there are inadequacies, gross inadequacies,
Yes.
and that needs to be clarified.
Okay. Yes.
The government of
You
the
think
day
the
has
government
to
will-
act on it
Yes.
because this deals with elections and there are elections coming in 5 states.
Yes.
And there's confusion all around. So the clarity is required and within a limited time frame it is required.
Vinod?
I think this is the right approach. I also presume that somebody can go in appeal to the Supreme Court
He says
against,
Mr. Bhatt
this,
says-
no, against the judgment on this two-judge bench.
No.
Referring to the earlier judgment, that this is in contravention of the earlier judgment,
No, we're
which
not.
says that the distinction between people who are convicted not being made to contest and people who are already there being given that leeway was reasonable because this is essential to keep the life of the House normal and intact.
Correct.
And I think this is the entire clarification which came from the judges. A reference to the Supreme Court would seem as if, frankly, I'm coming back to the same old question of the Supreme Court. You see, the Supreme Court must have a mechanism within. Why this cumbersome process? The government must come provide a reference to the Supreme Court posing this question, because this question, I think, surely must be agitating many brother judges of the two judges who delivered the judgment, because they know
Mr. Bhatt?
what is the earlier judgment is all about.
I think we have 31 or 33, I don't exactly remember the number, judges, and 2 judges constitute a bench of hearing. And if this is put with another 15 benches, what would be the result? I can't say. And therefore, the inbuilt mechanism in the Constitution is that whenever such questions come, the honorable judges on their own should
Refer it to the Constitution.
a larger bench rather than taking the opportunity
Mr.
of
Bhatt,
laying
there has
down.
been a judgment in the past
Vinod,
of
we're
a bench
completely running out
asking a
of time.
parliamentary committee to submit a report to the
Yes,
court.
yes. And then
in the same evening,
exactly.
in the same evening, there was a press note clarifying that this is not the intention.
Yes, yes.
Why couldn't that be done in this case?
No, we will see what will happen. Yes,
If
last
we
words.
take that the interpretation is wrong, then the wrong reporting of the proceedings is an issue to be addressed. In Parliament, you see, you have Media Advisory Committee and Privileges Committee to do it. Similar mechanism requires to be now.
Okay. On that note, I think we need to end because we have run out of time. But today it has been a big surprise that after our legal luminaries on the panel have clarified that the judgment which we all thought was something is something else absolutely. So this is a time for us to introspect the media and also whether there should be some kind of a checks and balances in reporting on what happens in the judiciary. We will anyway keep a watch and see if there's going to be any clarification from the Supreme Court on the issue which we were discussing. Thanks to all my guests, Justice Sodhi, Tapan Sen, Gurdeep Singh Sapal, K.N. Bhatt and Vinod Sharma. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue on the big picture same time tomorrow.